guys remember how I talked about that buried study that showed that piracy doesn't really hurt sales? Well, here we got another buried study, and this one is a lot more relevant in current year. Suppressed report says online hate speech doesn't reflect real-world crimes. Who could have predicted this? But obviously, this study has to stay suppressed, or else all the excuses the government and big tech use for censorship fly out the window. So let's see what it is they're trying to hide. We got to get this out there. Share this far and wide. Online so-called hate speech does not lead to an increase in real-world hate crimes, according to an unpublished federal report. The report was sent to Congress by the Department of Commerce in January, but is yet to appear on any government website. And I bet the people responsible for this report are probably fired right now, because they cannot have scientists reaching conclusions that don't fit the narrative. This cannot stand in current year. Now, what I would love is for a similar study to be done to see whether censorship actually leads to real-world crimes. Eventually, they're going to cancel somebody, they're going to take everything away from someone, and that person is going to realize they have nothing left to lose anymore and act accordingly. Where if they'd just been left alone, nothing would have happened. It would be interesting to see a study on that. The report, which is obtained by Breitbart News, was prepared by the National Telecommunications and Information Administration, which is under the Department of Commerce. Its purpose was to revise the findings of a similar report by NTIA from 1993 titled The Role of Telecommunications in Hate Crimes. The evidence does not show that during the last decade, a time of expansive growth of electronic communications, particularly on the internet and mobile devices as well as social media, there's been a rise in hate crime incidents, the report says. Oh, even better. You know what there has been a rise in, though? Hate crime hoaxes. There's two reasons for this, I believe. One is, well, if being a professional victim gets people benefits, they're gonna be professional victims. That's pretty self-explanatory. And the other possibility is just like how right now, thanks to alt tech, thanks to independent media, we're learning how corrupt the media is. We're learning how much they lie. People ask, like, oh, how come the media is suddenly lying so much when they used to be so trusted? No, they were always lying this much. The difference is that now, thanks to the internet, it's easier than ever to catch them in the act. But they were always lying. And maybe it's the same with hate crimes. Maybe most hate crimes were always hoaxes, and now we just get to see that. I think it's a combination of both. Most were always hoaxes, and we're seeing a lot more hoaxes because people can benefit from them. The report alleges that research into extremism fails to present data showing any causal relationship between increased social media use and increased violence. Meanwhile, I think there is an actual causal relationship between taking people's ability to protest peacefully away and increased violence. The report also cautions against efforts to crack down on online speech over the baseless concerns about hate crimes. We caution that efforts to control or monitor online speech, even for the worthy goal of reducing crime, present serious First Amendment concerns and run counter to our nation's dedication to free expression. That dedication has been dead for a long time. This isn't your grandpa's America anymore. To quote President Barack Obama, the strongest weapon against hateful speech is not repression, it's more speech. That's something that people say when they're being censored, but as soon as they have the power, they seem to always forget that. NTIA also condemns big tech undermining free speech under the guise of fighting hate speech. Given all the major social media platforms have rules against hate speech and in fact employ sophisticated algorithmic artificial intelligence approaches to enforce these often vague and contradictory rules in a manner also used by tyrannous regimes, it is appropriate to ask what they gain from it. It's obvious, fucking power and control. That's all this has ever been about. When it comes to the government, big tech, like big corporations, there's only ever two things. Every single thing they do can be traced back to two things: power and money. Everything they do is in pursuit of either more power or more money. Only a fucking idiot doesn't understand this. You have to be next level stupid to not realize this by now. Certainly, as the report shows, the platforms have no reasonable expectation that their censorship will end hate crimes or even diminish it, as no empirical evidence exists linking increased hate speech with hate crimes. Power and control, motherfucker. Further, this censorship poses real dangers to our political system. Under the hate speech prohibitions and other censorship rules, the platforms have removed content that many consider seriously engaged with pressing political and social issues. Now, this is a lesson I learned in the late 90s, which was pretty early as far as the internet goes. I was on a forum that was based in Germany, and even back then, the Fourth Reich had all sorts of bogus rules in place. And some of them was like hate speech, right? So I kept trying to have a political argument with someone, but my side of the argument kept getting deleted and censored because and then they had the balls to claim like, oh no, we're not censoring anyone. You just violated our rules. It's like, but dude, the counter argument to what this fucker is saying violates your rules. So you're saying you're saying we can't debate, we can't talk. No, you can talk. You just can't violate our rules. But your rules literally say anything to the right of Stalin is banned. So you can still have that opinion. You just can't violate our rules. So basically, I just got myself banned in a spectacular fashion and never looked back. The revision of the NTIA's 1993 report was requested under the Trump administration. However, it was during the reign of the 116th Congress where Republicans had a small majority in the Senate, and the Dems controlled the House with a majority of 35 seats. So it is rather baffling that the report has not been made public. They don't want this going out. Sources familiar with the drafting of the report allege that the report is being suppressed by establishment politicians who have much to gain from the hate crime panic. Wow, it's all about power and money, exactly like I said, huh? When the con artists are at risk of having their con exposed, of course they're going to fight against it. The conclusions of the report contradict the mainstream media's narrative of increased real-world hate crimes inspired by online hate speech. This is how, quote-unquote, science has been for the past couple of years, by the way. Last couple of decades, I think, actually. If the government funds a study and they don't get the results they wanted, guess which lab is never going to get government funding again? Guess which scientists are never going to get government funding again? They're basically being blackmailed into finding evidence that the ideology is right. Reports like this are typically made public. The source who worked closely with the NTIA on the report said, I don't know why this report isn't up on a government website yet. You know why. They're actively hiding it. It's already been submitted to Congress. It's not a private thing anymore. I suspect the Civil Rights Division might have something to do with it. And now that it's been leaked to the public anyway, I don't think it really matters anymore. In fact, keep hiding it. Keep trying to hide it. You just look even worse now. The Civil Rights Division, which is part of the Department of Law, I refuse to call it the Department of Justice anymore. And even then, they don't care about the law anyway. Fuck, what do we call these guys now? I don't know. The department is responsible for prosecuting hate crimes. The source claimed that it opposed the updated report, adding that the division is leading to efforts to drum up hysteria over white supremacy extremism. That's true. Isn't it fucking hilarious that after, 8 months of burn, loot, murder, burning, looting, and murdering, the biggest threat is white supremacy? Funny how that works out. Real funny. Oh man, I am so excited to tell you guys right now that finally, after about a year of build-up and shilling, we have launched Blade Devil on Indiegogo, and so far it is doing so well thanks to awesome people like you. If you haven't backed it yet, then please check the links in the description and check out Blade Devil on Indiegogo. You will not be disappointed. Looking forward to seeing you there.